We only have one world to live. Till Musk or Jeff Bezos find another planet to live, this world is what we have. So we need to make this world better together.
Thank you so much for joining us on Plant-Based News. Real pleasure to meet you.
Thank you for having me.
So before we get started, let us know, how did you discover this plant-based thing? Everybody's talking about it. The Game Changers was a huge documentary which inspired a lot of people. But how did it all begin for you?
I'll start with, I'm a Middle Eastern. So growing up, we ate different kind of meats 3 times a day: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I remember all my friends and even like my family sometimes always telling me, hey, make sure get your protein. It's important for you. And growing up, I didn't know any better. When we had a lockdown last year, the whole NBA was in a bubble. And during the bubble, we weren't allowed to leave the hotel. And we stayed in the same room for 82 days. I had a lot of downtime. I had lots of time to just research about things that I have never researched before. So that was the first time that I started to just find out about everything, not just the meal that I'm choosing, but about many other stuff. And it shocked me. I'm 28 years old, and everything I knew was wrong. And I started doing more research, and the more research I have done is just the more shocked me. So I think I'll just say 4 months ago, it was the first time I sit down and be like, okay, I gotta change some things.
And so when you learned about all this stuff, your mind, heart, and eyes became open to these things, did you feel the desire to tell other people? And when you have told other people about this way of eating, have people got excited? What kind of things have people said?
Of course, like first time I told some of my friends about all this stuff, they were laughing at me because they're like, dude, you're an NBA player. There's no way you can do it. But there's this idea in people's head that is like athletes need meat. But because we always thought that just eating meat that you're going to be stronger, you're going to be bigger, you're going to be faster than all the other ones, then you're gonna heal quicker. But after, like you mentioned, watching the documentary called Game Changers, every athlete, not just athletes, but especially athletes in the world should watch that documentary because it is an eye opener. I was like, wow, you don't need to eat meat to get bigger or stronger or faster or leaner or heal quicker. But it definitely opened my eyes. I feel like it is all about educating yourself because your body, especially if you're an athlete, your body is your everything. So that's why you just need to invest in your body so you can have a longer career.
You said that when you found out about factory farming, that it broke your heart. What did you mean by
that? So people don't understand. It is not just about not eating meat. It is about literally changing our world because we get to choose what kind of we want to live in 3 times a day. And when I found out about all this factory farm system that animal are abusing in there, how the workers' lives in the danger, and how it just the lagoons and waste from factory farms, the waters are just filled with urine, and it can cause the sickness like asthma and cancer and everything. It was a wake-up call. And obviously, there are so many videos out there that you can go ahead and research about factory farm system. And there are so many politicians in America are against it. So I've been working with the one guy that is a good example of all this stuff is Cory Booker, Senator Cory Booker from New Jersey, and he's huge on all this stuff. So I had a conversation with him, and it did open my eyes.
It's incredible. And there's so much to be concerned about with factory farms, specifically zoonotic diseases. Now, we obviously are living in the midst of a global pandemic, and many of us are concerned about future pandemics because this pandemic has come from people consuming animals. Do you want to talk a little bit about what you've learned about this relationship between the effect that these factory farms are having and the potential for future pandemics? Do you feel that we need to be shouting this from the rooftops to educate people about almost the dangers of factory farms?
hmm I'll just start with obviously, well, the factory farm is heartbreaking, but because it has harmful effects on so many levels. The animal abuse is obviously is, horrific, and there is no reason to be cruel to any living creatures. But when you find out that human beings are starving while we are feeding animals just to do this to them, really disturbing. At the same time, like I talk about, the lagoons of waste from factory farms are filled with like urine and feces and dead animals, and they pollute rural communities
Mm.
and causing literally cancer. I believe I was doing a research, and the UN and the other major organizations have said factory farming is a major contributor to climate change. If you care about climate change, you need to educate yourself about the factory farm system. And it also as a risk of a pandemic. So when you put all these things together, how can you not how can you not want to make a change? Because our world is suffering, and we need change, and change cannot wait anymore.
Mm. As my friend Juliet Galatli, the founder of Viva,
Mhm.
said, if we don't end factory farming, it is going to end us. So
Exactly.
yeah,
That very well.
the writing is on the wall. So you've been playing with this plant-based lifestyle for a while. You've been talking about it, and you've done an amazing campaign with Peter. Have you inspired anyone around you to follow in your footsteps and start eating more plants?
My brother actually was trying to go vegan too, and obviously it is really, I'm not going to lie, first couple of weeks for an athlete it is tough. Obviously you're literally changing, that's something that you have never done before. The first couple of weeks, and whoever's listening to this out there, whichever athletes listening to this out there, obviously first couple of weeks could be a little challenging. But then once your body's used to it, once your mind is used to it, you wake up more energetic. You feel better in the mornings and you sleep better. So I was having this conversation with my brother, and he's an athlete. He plays professional basketball too, and he's big on educating himself about what he's put on his body, and he's trying. It's been a while. It's been almost like half a year now. He's trying to do his best to cut down meat as much as plant-based food he can. He loves it. He loves it, and I could see the change in his body. He looks more athletic now. He wakes up, he said, he wakes up just more energetic and happy. He's not waking up a little sluggish, and whenever he goes to practice, he doesn't feel tired anymore and stuff. So I am proud of him. You look at NBA, that is just not me. There are many athletes like Chris Paul, DeAndre Jordan. You look at American football, there's Cam Newton and many others, Williams sisters and stuff. There are so many athletes out there, world class athletes out there that has done it. If they can do it, you can do it too.
Absolutely, it is possible. So, regarding the kind of plant-based diet itself, talk us through your what you eat in a day. What kind of things do you end up on your plate from breakfast to dinner and snacks in between?
In the morning, I try to eat something light. And I try to eat something, some kind of maybe plant based. Obviously, everything's a granola or some kind of like a cereal to just get me going. But we should be so thankful that it's actually delicious. Beyond Meat is one of my favorite, and I cook it at home. I actually just learned how to cook, so I can cook too. It's amazing. But if you want to have a cheat day, you should try Impossible Burger. It's one of my favorites. And whenever we go to a big cities, especially, I try to have some of it. But like I said again, there are so many now because of the technology. You have so many options out there. Like the one thing that people think that non-vegans think like the vegans only eat just salad. No, we don't. We don't eat just salad. There's so many delicious choice that you can go out there and find, and it's actually tasting amazing. While I'm talking about it, I'm actually craving it. But there are so many options out there that you can go on any kind of like the eat apps, and you can just order it in restaurants. You can, and so we don't just eat spinach or kale and just or tomatoes or whatever. So we eat a lot of different food.
And what are the main physical benefits you feel? You mentioned a bit of energy and stuff, but like generally speaking, if you want to talk a little bit about what are some of the overall benefits that you feel in your body and in your sport.
Especially game days, before I tried a plant-based, the night before the game, I was obviously eating something, a meal, a big meal. And in the mornings, I was like waking up very sluggish and tired. And that was affecting my performance because I was going to practice and I was going to a game like that. And then whenever, obviously, we are playing sports and we get lots of injuries. But I don't know, like people should believe that. And I'm not lying. I promise you, you heal quicker.
Mm.
I don't know about scientifically. I never researched, and I should. I did not educate myself about it, but you heal quicker, and you just look leaner. Now I go in front of the mirror and look at myself. I'm like, wow, that's a big change. And I think if it affects your performance because you feel stronger, you feel more energetic, and whenever you out there, you have more energy. It is something very special, and once people tries it, I see whenever I post something about plant based, there are so many comments that I have read is like, "Oh, I can never do it. I don't know if I can at least for 24 hours. I will pass out." No, trust me, like mind is something so powerful. Like once your body get used to it,
Mm.
you want to go out there and feel amazing. Trust me. Like I said, first couple of weeks could be a little challenging, but you don't have to just be 100% change overnight. Just try to get your body used to it.
And your teammates, how have they responded? Do they support your food choices?
My team is always respectful, and I think one thing we always do is we try to inspire each other about everything. I'm playing again. I'm playing with Portland now, but when I was playing for Boston Celtics, I had another teammate who was vegan, and he was actually vegan before me, and I was always like looking at him, just like, dude, like, how do you survive? Like, how do you do it? But no, he explained to me a little bit. He was one of the person that inspired me. So I'm thankful for him. But my family, I don't know how they would react to that because obviously my mom was, cooking me 3 times a day. It's gonna be a little because in Turkey there's not many people don't know enough about plant-based food
Mm.
and stuff. So
Yeah.
I need to educate my family about it.
Hopefully, you can inspire some people in Turkey to make that change across the Western world, across Europe. Chronic disease like heart disease, type 2 diabetes, obesity is shortening people's lives. It's really stealing years from our families, and not people are not living the long and vibrant lives that they should when they could if they switched to a plant-based diet. You've been doing this for a while. You've been obviously been doing lots of research. To you, what are some of the biggest myths that we can smash on a plant-based diet?
First of all, like I said again, we don't just eat boring salads. There are so many different kind of delicious food out there that you can go with and taste. But I want to say this. I want to touch base on this. That one thing that really like for me is okay. I want to make change and change cannot wait anymore. Was when I found out that we have I believe was 1 billion people are starving in the world, but we feed 50% of the grains and legumes to animals for people who want to eat meat. That was like one of the turning point. I'm like, wow, there are so many kids out there and so many people out there are starving. 1 billion is a huge, with a B, is a huge number. And just because of we want to eat meat and people are getting starving, that is not acceptable. So that was one of the things that I'm like, okay, it's time for a change because you're living in this world and you could have access to a lot of things, but there are so many people out there that they don't. So you need to do an empathy and think about those people too. So that was one of the things that I'm like, okay. And then after I hear about the factory farm system, how it causes diseases like cancer and asthma and stuff. So like it touched my heart and I think it should touch everybody's heart because everybody carry a heart. You cannot look at an animal in the eye and say, my appetite is more important than your life.
Mm.
So I think people needs to sit, think, educate, and go out there and try to inspire others.
Oh, very well said. Yeah, I think so. The main thing really is the biggest myth of all is that we don't need to eat meat. We don't need to kill and eat animals. And that's the biggest myth of all, because once that myth is smashed, we can
Mhm.
change, I really truly believe we can change the world. Because even though when we sit down 3 times a day and we make a choice of what to eat on our plates, many people are unaware of what the consequences of those choices. So when we make those choices, we eat that food, we don't think about what's going on outside, how much water is used, how much CO2 is produced, like you say, how many people are affected by the toxic chemicals that go into the rivers and the oceans. And this is what we have to do. We have to show people that everything in our world is connected, that all things are connected. And when we make these choices, we have the power to really change the world. Thank you for speaking so eloquently and about this topic. I think it's really important. And your generation, the millennial generation, are the ones that are going to kind of push this world, in my opinion, in the right direction, because I think it's been going in the wrong direction for a long while. So next question was, do you think that this is something that you'll be able to keep up? Do you feel passionate about it enough to keep up the diet and eating this way,
Mhm.
but also continuing to talk about it and being open? Because obviously you did that campaign with Peter. It's a very public campaign because Peter is very much associated with activism
Right.
and campaigning. And Peter have a very strong message, a strong style that using animals for food, fashion, or entertainment is wrong and that we shouldn't do it. Do you think that you will keep aligning yourself with that into the future?
I'll start with, once you educate yourself, it's like impossible to not keep up. So I'm going to try to obviously do my best to keep up. And because now I understand this issue is not just about a meal. 3 times a day, when we choose our meal, we get to vote like what kind of world we want to live in. Now we have a platform, and I feel like we need to use platform to inspire as many people we can, kids and people all around the world, and we get to make an impact on huge issues like I mentioned: world hunger, climate change, animal abuse, pandemics. And when you realize that you have that kind of power to just do it, and your appetite is not important than any of these issues that
Mhm.
I just count. One person, of course, can make an impact, but don't just keep all these informations to yourself. Try to spread them as much as you can to your family, to your people in your streets, your neighborhood, to your teammates, to your friends, because once they go on internet and do some little research, watch some videos, it's like everybody is carrying a heart, and it's so hard to not care about these issues. You can literally change your world, which there's so many people out there doing an amazing job of doing it already. But I feel like it's all about educating yourself, and just that 2 week period is tough, but once you pass that, then it gets easier and easier every day.
Thank you so much for adding your voice to this
Mhm.
movement, to this important message. I have a feeling we'll see a lot more of you, and hopefully we can talk more in the future. I'm very happy to have you on the plant-based team. And we're
Right.
obviously very happy to support you and support your work. And if you want to continue spreading this message, and whether it's through environmental justice, through the effects
Mhm.
on people, I think that now's the time for us to be using our platforms, using our influence to speak out and to, as they say, speak truth to power, because the powerful have been able to get away with murder really for so long now. And now is the time for us, now that we have the technology, now we have the voices to
Exactly.
be able to reach so many people. We have to do it. Obviously, we need to do it skillfully. If we go out there angry, waving a fist and screaming at people, it's very easy for people to be alienated. It's very easy for people to sway and say, Robbie's crazy, I'm not going to listen to him. His opinions are too extreme. But I think when we position things, like you say, and like talk about the benefits and how wonderful this diet is and this lifestyle is, how compassion is such an important part of our lives as human beings, that if we start with compassion on our plate, that bleeds out into everything that we do, our whole lives, and we begin to change as people. I really believe like our minds and our hearts open, we become more compassionate people. Because if we're thinking about what we're eating every single day, when we're choosing that mindfully, consciously, we're going to inspire other people to do the same. And I do believe that peace, worldwide peace, will be a
Exactly.
reality, because we really can't have peace in the world. We can't have
Mhm.
peace with other human beings if we don't have peace on our plate.
The last thing I want to say is we only have one world to live. Till Musk or Jeff Bezos find another planet to live, this world is what we have. So we need to make this world better together. Like I said again, we get to vote every day, 3 times a day. for what kind of world we want to live in. So the one person and two-person, what is good, but I feel like just spread the message, inspire as many people you can, and everybody is carrying a heart. Trust me, get in hearts. Instead of going to extremists, try to sit down and educate one by one, and trust me, it is going to work.
Amazing. Enes, thank you so much for joining us on Plant-Based News. It was a real pleasure to meet you and talk to you, and I hope we can have another conversation real soon. I'm looking forward to hearing and seeing your journey, and we'll be following you nice and closely.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks.